Hello again and welcome, listeners, to Shallow Thoughts and Deep Shit. My name is Jefferson Lambert, and I'll be your host for this atrocity as I journey through the mind of a serial misanthrope. You can listen to this podcast for free at Spotify, Apple iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Radio Public, and Spotify for podcasters. If you like what you hear, please rate the show, subscribe, and follow. You can also follow the show on Instagram, X, Facebook, and YouTube, where you can join for extra content, new episode notifications, and more. Don't forget, you can interact with each episode and post a comment or ask a question if you so desire. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get started, shall we? The worst shower I ever took. Saturday, May 26, 1990. Back in 1989, I met a guy named Willie who was from Oswego. During Memorial Day weekend the following year, my friend Carl and my ex-girlfriend and I went up to Oswego with Willie to watch the Super Modifieds and the NASCAR Modifieds for the Richie Evans Memorial Race at Oswego Speedway. I think we went up there twice with him, and this was our second trip, but that doesn't really matter to this story. We went up there on a Friday and planned on getting a hotel to sleep overnight and go to the track on Saturday. We got to Oswego and drove around looking for a cheap hotel that would put up with us for the night. We finally found one and checked in and put our bags on the bed, and I scurried into the bathroom and took a dump. While I was in the bathroom, Willie called his childhood best friend, Ball. I cannot for the life of me remember Ball's real name, but that doesn't matter either. Willie had a friend named Ball, so what? We had met Ball the first time we went up there, and he was a drunken wild man. Willie told Ball on the phone that we were in town and just checked into a hotel room across town. Ball was like, "What? A hotel?" He told Willie his mother was away for the weekend, and he insisted we leave the hotel at once and go to his house for party time. We thought this was a great idea. We fabricated a story for the front desk hotel clerk and told them we had called home and received emergency-like news and needed to return home at once, and could we please have our money back. The hotel clerk obliged, and we took our bags and left the room with the poop stinking to high hell from my 10 minutes in the bathroom. We basically checked into the hotel, made a phone call, used the bathroom, and then checked out. Pretty cool. So we drove to Ball's house, which wasn't too bad of a house, but it wasn't immaculate either. He had a dog, and there was dog hair everywhere. It was a duplex with another family living upstairs. Ball was a pretty good host, and he opened up his mom's house to us. We partied and drank and laughed all night long. I can't remember exactly all we did, but I know we had fun. I remember waking up Saturday morning, hungover on the living room floor with no blankets or pillows. The first thing I opened my eyes to was Ball, who was sleeping on the couch above me with drool dripping down the side of his chin as he snored like a grizzly bear. Ball's house had only one bathroom, and I noticed the day before that the tub in the bathroom had a green garden hose connected to the tub's faucet. The green garden hose hooked into the faucet and was about 2 feet in length and just sat in the tub like that. I neglected to notice that the tub was not equipped with a shower head. Once we all woke up and brushed the cobwebs out of our heads and had breakfast, it was getting near time to head to the track. Time for some personal hygiene. I don't remember how it all went down, but it probably went something like this. Me: "Hey, Ball, I need to take a shower." Ball: "No problem, but there's no shower up here. You have to go downstairs." Me: "Downstairs?" Ball: "Yep, downstairs. There are towels down there too." Me: "Okay, thanks." Ball: "No problem." So I grab my clean clothes and he shows me the door that goes downstairs so I can take a shower. I figured they had another floor downstairs with either spare rooms or a den or something like that. No, I was wrong. Downstairs was indeed the basement. I flicked the light switch and carefully navigated down the steep, dirty stairs into the basement. If I could rewind time, I would take the next 10 minutes of my life back. I went downstairs and quickly realized that the room I was in didn't really even qualify as a room or a basement. It was more like an unfinished bomb shelter. It was dank and damp and filled with cobwebs and spiders. The walls were ancient and slimy, and there were a couple of windows that you couldn't even look out of because they were so dirty. The floor wasn't even cement, it was dirt, and the ceiling was very low. There were some old, rotted cardboard boxes that were deteriorating and just thrown anywhere. Everything that was down there had fallen victim to the environment, which resembled a filthy cave, never mind a basement. Suddenly, the money we saved on not getting that hotel room didn't seem too important anymore. There was an old washer and dryer against the wall to the right at the bottom of the steps. There was a dangling light bulb hanging down, so I walked over there, and then I finally saw it. The shower Ball had told me was downstairs. Oh my God, say it isn't so. In the corner of the dank, putrid basement, the dirt floor sloped up a little bit, and I could see spent soap cakes everywhere embedded into the dirt floor. The soap cakes were actually part of the floor. You know, when the soap gets really thin so you can't even use it because it gets as thin as a credit card. There were dozens and dozens of these everywhere. In the corner was a makeshift shower head protruding out of the ceiling's depth somewhere, and crudely soldered piping running down the length of the wall. You could see the copper piping, and in the middle of it was a single knob to turn the water on and off. Holy moly, you have got to be kidding me. Near the knob hung a moldy metal soap dish holder with a half-used bar of soap and a bottle of cheap shampoo. I was horrified as I put my clothes down on top of the dryer and assessed the situation. There wasn't a ceiling down there, only rafters filled with pink insulation, cobwebs, and God knows what else. The shower was stuffed into the corner of the basement, and someone had jimmied the piping to borrow water from the bathroom above upstairs. It was plumbing from a horror movie, and I'm positive the house wasn't up to any kind of city code, and any structural engineer or inspector would surely levy citations had they known about this abusive instrument for cleansing. It was bad. Even showers in the olden times must have been better than this place. As I soaked in this environment, I looked around and made another startling discovery that, to this day, makes my stomach curl. To the right, against the wall, was a little thin shelf, and on it was something so wretched, so disgusting, and so out of place in this basement of stench that I still cannot believe it. There was a small plastic cup, and in it was a tube of toothpaste and a toothbrush. Oh my God, my eyes are not deceiving me. Not only does Ball shower in this hellhole, but he also brushes his teeth in here as well. I cupped my hand over my mouth, probably to stop my breakfast of Fruit Loops from making a return appearance all over the dirty floor. I was just amazed and bewildered that someone actually uses this facility. I nearly grabbed my clothes and ran back upstairs, but I was down there trying to process how dirty I was in my head. I hadn't showered since Thursday and took 2 dumps and wasn't going to be home until Sunday, and I really needed a shower. Otherwise, I would have just been miserable for the races. I contemplated going back upstairs and hopping in the tub up there. You know, the one with the garden hose attached to the faucet. However, I remember Ball telling my ex-girlfriend that morning after breakfast that the hose was in there because his mother used it to wash the dog. I was trying to get this all straight in my head. The dog takes a bath in the tub in the normal bathroom upstairs, while Ball goes downstairs to shower in the depths of hell and brushes his teeth down there to boot. It was like a scene from a third world country. Wow. I could hear my friends upstairs goofing around as I looked around and tried to figure out an alternative solution as I inhaled the thick, dusty, stagnant air. There wasn't any alternative solution. If I didn't want to spend a miserable, dirty day at the track, then I had to somehow use the shower to try to actually get clean. It sounds impossible, I know. I stepped forward and reached for the knob, afraid to even make contact with it. You've got to be kidding me. I'm actually going to go through with this? I turned the knob, and instantly the shower head came to life. The water dribbled out at first, probably due to mold and calcium buildup as it blubbered out onto the basement floor. This is when I made yet another amazing discovery. As the shower head kicked in and started actually working like a shower, I noticed the water running off the floor. The dirt floor at the bottom of the shower was sloped up a little bit, probably from mounds and mounds of spent soap cakes, and the water hit it and just started meandering down the wall. I followed its projected path and noticed over at the far wall a disgusting pool of stagnant shower water that just ran there and stood in the corner of the basement. Floating in the water was more spent soap cakes and cotton ear cleaners and bottles of empty shampoo. Great. To put icing on the cake, the basement had no drainage whatsoever. Since the shower was homemade, naturally there wasn't any way that the water could drain. The health inspector of Oswego would have had a field day in that basement. How nice it would have been to have just stayed in that hotel room instead of leaving and lying to that nice front desk clerk. But instead, as I stood there and watched the water dribble out of Ball's shower head and listened to the pipe shake and tremble, I took off my pants and shirt and felt the water and made sure it was warming up. It was. I couldn't believe I was about to do this. I took off everything, but left on my underwear and socks. With much hesitation, I slowly and carefully stepped into the shower. It was impossible not to step on spent soap cakes that decorated the dirty floor. I can feel them through my socks, slimy and nasty. I got my hair and body wet and tried desperately not to concentrate on the cesspool of water building up on the other side of the room. I didn't want to look at the yucky walls around me, so I faced outward toward the open room and wondered why anyone would want to live like this. I averted my eyes from Ball's cup and toothbrush and dared not even touch his current bar of soap. Instead, I reluctantly picked up his shampoo bottle with 2 fingers and quickly squeezed out a wad and put it back and never touched it again. I used the shampoo and lathered up my whole body, vowing never to turn down a nice hotel room again. I got all the important parts, washed my hair, and then rinsed off the shampoo. I was not about to overstay my welcome. 2 inches above my head was the ceiling, which was full of dank insulation and decade-old cobwebs. I may or may not have actually gotten dirtier throughout the whole ordeal. I finished my business and, feeling somewhat satisfied, turned off the water and stepped out of the shower area with drenched underwear and soaking wet socks. At this point, this was the first time I had thought about a towel. I was so concerned and consumed by the shower that I neglected to think that far ahead. I looked around, and next to the dryer was one of those wooden laundry racks to hang clothes on to dry. There were a couple of towels hanging off of it, but no way for me to tell if they were clean or not. But that didn't matter because I wasn't about to use them anyway. I pulled open the dryer and, luckily for me, found a towel inside there in the load of laundry. Thank goodness for the little things. I took off my wet underwear and just threw them toward the stand of bath water that just pooled up in the corner of the basement. As far as I was concerned, Ball could have my dirty underwear. I dried off, wrapped myself in the towel, and picked up all my clothes and headed to the stairs without ever looking back. Once I ascended the first step and saw the safety and salvation of the door at the top of the stairs, I kicked off my socks and flung them toward the pooled up water to join my underwear there. I hightailed it up the stairs and rejoined my friends in the house upstairs. My ex-girlfriend saw my face and the sheer disgust on it, and I just shook my head. Ball and Willie were laughing and already drinking beer, even though the milk at the bottom of their cereal bowls was still cold. Yikes. I shook my head and went past them and got dressed in the dog washing bathroom on the first floor. I've taken some bad showers in my lifetime, took some in some scurvy places like campgrounds and gyms, country clubs and locker rooms, and at other people's scurvy houses. Never, though, have I before or since taken a shower like the one I did that day at Ball's house in Oswego. I told my ex girlfriend about the bathroom downstairs and even invited her to go have a look for herself, but she declined, and then she spent the rest of the weekend dirty and unshowered. I was still in shock and disbelief when I told her about my experience downstairs. Like I said, I've taken some bad showers in my lifetime. I've taken them with no hot water. I've taken them with little or no water pressure. I've taken showers in at least 30 different states all across the country. And sure, some of them have been less than desirable and were pretty scurvy and gross, but none like the shower I took in May of 1990 at Ball's house.